Greetings fellow Planeswalkers, I'm James, and today we're going to be breaking down my Najeela the Blade Blossom deck. This is my most high-powered deck. It is on the cusp of EDH, up in that upper echelon of Commander. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and put a comment in the video's description below as well. That kind of really helps with the algorithm. Go and check out the podcast, go and check out our merch, shirts, and everything. All links will be in the description in the videos below. So let's go through Najeela. She is 2 and a red for a 3/2 legendary creature human warrior that says whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create 1/1 white warrior creature tokens that tapped and attacking, has an activated ability of Wooburg. Untap all attacking creatures, they gain trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during combat. So I want to make sure we have a lot of creatures on the field that can tap and untap to keep fueling Najeela, as well as having lands that come in that can tap and untap, and we have ways to do that. So let's go through the deck here real quick. We have our card draw. We have 11 cards here. We have Ad Nauseam. It is 3 black for an instant that says reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. You may repeat this process any number of times. We have Brainstorm. It is 1 blue and you draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. We have Dark Confidant. It is 1 and a black for a 2/1 human wizard that says at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. We have Gitaxian Probe. It is 1 Phyrexian mana. You look at target player's hand and draw a card. We have Mindblade Renderer. It is 1 and a black for a 1/3 Aswell warrior. This is whenever your opponents are dealt combat damage, if any of that damage was dealt by a warrior, you draw a card and lose 1 life. We also have Mystic Remora. We have Occam Adversary. It is 3 and a green for a 2/3 elf warrior that says this spell costs 2 generic mana less to cast if your opponents control a green permanent and has Death Touch. Whenever Occam Adversary deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. We have Ponder. It is a 1 mana sorcery that says look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in there in any order. You may shuffle your library, then draw a card. We also have Preordain. Preordain is a 1 mana sorcery as well. Scry 2, then draw a card. We have Rhystic Study. And there it is there, the 3 mana enchantment. We also have Veil of Summer. It is 1 green for an instant that says draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until end of turn. So we have Ramp. These are going to be in the forms of lots of little mana dorks and mana rocks. So we have Arbor Elf. It is 1 green mana to untap a forest. We have Arcane Signet. It is 2 mana to tap for any 1 color of mana in your commander's identity. So in this case, taps for Wooburg. We have Avacyn's Pilgrim. It is 1 green that taps for a white. We have Birds of Paradise. 1 green that taps for any color of mana. We have Cryptolith Rite. It is 1 and a green for an enchantment that says creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Turns every single creature that you have into a mana dork. We have Deathrite Shaman. It is hybrid Golgari for a 1/2 elf shaman with 3 activated abilities. The first one's the only one we're going to be using here, which is the tap, exile target land from a graveyard, add 1 mana of any color. We have Dockside Extortionist, 1 and a red for a 1/2 Goblin Pirate. Says when it ETBs, you make treasures equal to the amount of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. We have Elves Deep Shadow. It is 1 green that taps for black and deals 1 damage to you. We also have Elvish Mystic and Finehorn Elves, as well as Llanowar Elves. These are all 1 green mana dorks to tap for green. We also have Jeweled Lotus. It is 0 mana artifact. You tap, crack, sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. You can only spend this mana to cast your commander, which is a turn 1 Najeela, and that is the most broken play you can do in this deck, because then turn 2 you're starting to swing out with more warriors, and you just start to exponentially grow your field every single turn unless someone has an answer to it. We also have Lotus Petal. It does the same thing that Jeweled Lotus does, but it's only for 1 mana, and you can use that mana to tap for anything. We have Mana Crypt. It is the better Soul Ring, I guess. 0 mana, taps for 2, can deal 3 damage to you if you lose your flip in your upkeep. We also have Noble Hierarch. 1 green, taps for Bant. Right there. Forgot to highlight that one, my bad. We have Soul Ring. It is the 1 mana, taps for 2. Everyone knows Soul Ring in Commander. We also have Wild Growth. It is 1 green enchant land. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds green to his or her mana pool. So we've gone through card draw and ramp. We're going to go through single target removal here real quick. We have Abrupt Decay. It is Golgari for an instant that says it can't be countered and it destroys target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. We have Assassin's Trophy. It's also Golgari for an instant that says destroy target permanent and opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. We have Beast Within, 3 and a green, destroy target permanent. Its controller gets a 3/3 green beast. We have Chaos Warp, 2 and a red for an instant that says that the owner of target permanent shuffles it into his or her library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent, they put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, it just stays on top. We have Cyclonic Rift. We want to use this essentially in this deck not to overload it, but as single target removal. So it's 1 and a blue to return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If we have the mana, we can also overload it to kind of get rid of the board. We have Deadly Rollick. It is 3 and a black for an instant that says exile target creature. You can cast this spell for free if you have your commander. In the same vein, we also have Deflecting Swat. It is 2 and a red, for an instant that says you may choose new targets for target spell or ability. Again, it's free if you own your commander. We have Generous Gift. It is the color shifted Beast Within, 2 and a white to destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. We have Nature's Claim. It is 1 green mana for an instant that says destroy target artifact or enchantment. Its controller gains 4 life. We have Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares. They both do exactly the same thing. It's 1 white, exile target creature. One makes you gain life. The other one makes your opponent go and get a land and put it on the battlefield tapped. All right, so after that, we have some hate pieces. So we have, again, some stacks. You kind of want to slow your opponents down so that you can then, again, break parity, just like in Tree Lane, to then kind of push forth and get into the win. We have Aven Mind Sensor. It is 2 and a white for a bird wizard that has flash and flying, and when your opponents tutor, they can only tutor the top 4 cards instead. Collector Oof shuts off their all their rocks. Well, it also shuts off your rocks as well, but that's fine because you're running so many mana dorks. We have Deafening Silence. It is 1 white for an enchantment. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn. We have Drannith Magistrate, 1 and a white. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere else other than their hand. We have Hull Breacher, 2 and a blue with a 2 and a blue for a 3/2 Merfolk Pirate with flash, and if an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead you create a treasure token. And we have Opposition Agent, 2 and a black for a 3/2 with flash. You control your opponent's libraries while they're searching. And also while your opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were any color of mana to cast them. Cool, so that's basically the plan there. And the way that we're going to win if we're not able to draw into anything else is we have some tutors here that's going to help us get into those cards. And mainly those cards are the little combo section down here we're going to go through after I go through the tutors. So the tutors is Court of Calling, X green for an instant with Convoke, so your creatures can help you tap to basically add 1 color mana of their identity or 1 generic mana. You search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. We have Demonic Tutor. It is 1 and a black for a sorcery. Go and search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Enlightened Tutor, it does the same thing, but to the top of the library. It is it is just white for an instant. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment and put it on top, then shuffle. Mystical Tutor does the same thing, but for instant and sorcery cards. Vampiric Tutor, it's the top of the library for 1 black, but you don't reveal it, and you also lose 2 life. Then we have Worldly Tutor. It is 1 green. Search your library for a creature card and reveal that card. Put it onto the top of your library. Now, what do we want to be tutoring up for is Druid's Repository. It is a combo piece in the deck. It is 1 green for an enchantment. It says whenever a creature you control attacks, put a charge counter on Druid's Repository, remove a charge counter from Druid's Repository, and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. I love this card. This card in any deck that wants to be attacking wants this card because you're just going to add more and more mana every single time. So we have Eldritch Evolution is another way of getting into the next creature I'm going to talk about. So Eldritch Evolution is a 1 green sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Eldritch Evolution, sacrifice a creature. Search a library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card into the battlefield, then shuffle your library and you exile Eldritch Evolution. So the card we want to go and get is we want to turn a Mana Dork into a Derevi Imperial Tactician. It is Bant for a 2/3 Let me just see if I can get rid of the foiling here real quick. I think it only came in foil. No, it didn't. Here we go. Derevi. Bant for a 2/3. Bird Wizard flying. When Derevi, Imperial Tactician, enters the battlefield or creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may tap or untap target permanent, and also has an activated ability to bring in from the command zone, but not relevant in this deck. So basically what you want to be doing is, if you can't get Druid's Repository online, you have Derevi, so you want to be able to go and Eldritch Evolution into a Derevi, bring Derevi out, untap something, and then if you have a Command Tower or a land that taps for Rainbow, so a Wooburg land that taps for anything like City of Brass, Exotic Orchid, Mana Confluence, these ones do damage to you, yes, I understand that, but with the lifelink from Najeela, you're going to be subsidizing that 5 life that you take with being able to deal more and more damage every single turn, every single time you have a combat phase. So basically you want to put all of your triggers onto the Rainbow land, and then you want to tap and untap it in response to basically get infinite mana to then be able to get into infinite combat steps with Najeela's activated ability. You want to make sure that you have at least 5 attacking creatures before you do this. You want to have Najeela plus 4 warriors, or maybe even 5 warriors, and leave Najeela back if you need to. But if we don't get into any of that, we have a backup here in Nature's Will. It is 2 green for an enchantment. This is whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, tap all lands that player controls, and untap all lands you control. So that's the combo side of it. And that's pretty much what you're going to be trying and getting into as quickly as possible, and it's very easy in this deck. We're going to go through utility. I threw the counters in with some of the utility stuff in here as well. So we're going to go through that now, and it's Arcane Denial is the first one. It is 1 and a blue to counter target spell. You and your opponent then draw cards. Counter spell, 2 blue mana, counter target spell. Super easy to remember. Feast Guardianship, 2 and a blue for an instant. The counter target's non-creature spell. If you control your commander, it is free. We have Flusterstorm. It is 1 mana for an instant that says counter target spell, instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1 and has Storm. We have Pact of Negation. It is the 0-drop counter target spell at the beginning of your next upkeep. Pay 5, so 3 and 2 blue. If you don't, you lose the game. We have Reconnaissance. I love this card. It goes in every deck that I want that has white and has creatures attacking. It is a 1 white enchantment with an activated ability of 0. Remove target attacking creature you control that from combat and untap it. So basically, right at the end of combat phase, after damage is dealt, there is a small window where you can use Reconnaissance to untap your creatures. So the damage has already been dealt, you then untap them, and it kind of gives them sort of pseudo vigilance. We have Secure the Wastes. It is X and white for an instant that says put X 1/1 white warrior creatures tokens onto the battlefield. This pretty much just says for 5 mana you get 4 warriors with Najeela out, and it helps you instantly win the game. So after that we have Silence. Silence is a 1 white for an instant that says your opponents can't cast spells this turn. You want to do this just before, you either want to do this before your turn to stop your opponents from actually having their turn so you can get into your win, or you want to be using this on your turn when you're about to go off with Najeela so that you can stop your opponents from actually having anything that is going to stop them from you winning. And if all of that goes amiss, we have a backup win condition that is, again, it's Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation. You might have seen it here throughout this video where it says backup. So we have Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation. Thassa's Oracle is the 2 blue creature that says if you basically have no cards in your library, you win the game. There is a lot of other relevant text on this card, but essentially in this deck you want to just be casting it for that backup alternate win con. And then Demonic Consultation says you basically name a card and you remove the top 6 cards of your library from the game, and if the card that you named wasn't there, you just keep going. So you just name a card that isn't in your library, you get rid of it, yada yada yada. We all know Demonic Consultation and Thassa Oracle combo. I also have Tainted Pact in this deck. It does almost the exact same thing as Demonic Consultation, because if you've been seeing, I don't have any non-repeating lands. All my lands are either fetch lands, rainbow lands, or some sort of dual land. So I'd run all 10 shocks in here, I run all 10 bond lands. So Tainted Pact is essentially another version of Demonic Consultation. And then we have Neoform. It is 1 blue and a green for a sorcery. It says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card into the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, then shuffle your library. So this is going to turn a mana dork into a Thassa's Oracle to then go for the Demonic Consultation win. And that is my Najeela the Blade Blossom deck. If you liked this fun little deck tech for you, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share a comment, share this with your friends. I want to thank G Dubz for the music on this video. Go check out his channel as well. Fantastic beats if you need any backups or any background music or anything. Don't forget to go and listen to the podcast either on here on YouTube or on Spotify or anywhere else you get better podcasts. We also have the merch shirt still available. The link is going to be in the video description below. And you can also support us on patreon.com/commanderatarms. And with that, I'm James, and this has been a Commander at Arms deck tech. Peace.
See ya.